There's another twist in the legal saga of former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Federal Judge Emmett Sullivan appointing a retired judge to assess whether Flynn should be charged with perjury for first pleading guilty to lying to the FBI and then trying to withdraw that plea. The Justice Department has asked Judge Sullivan to drop the whole thing. We now know the names of former government officials involved in revealing that General Flynn's name came up in foreign government surveillance.
The list includes top national security figures, including then FBI Director James Comey, then CIA Director John Brennan, and the former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, in addition to former Vice President Joe Biden. The National Security Agency memo says the officials may have received Flynn's identity, and each individual was authorized and approved through a standard process that includes justification of the request. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The Biden campaign releasing a statement saying the former vice president did nothing inappropriate and accusing the two Republican senators who released the list of acting as Trump campaign operatives. If you got a stimulus loan that you shouldn't have, you'll have to act today.
Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said companies that took more than $2 million will be audited, and companies that took money that shouldn't have could be held criminally liable. Today is the deadline for companies that shouldn't have applied for money to return what they got if they shouldn't be keeping it. President Trump was asked what will happen to companies that do not.
If there's any companies that got loans that they weren't entitled to, we'll go after them very seriously. They'll have big problems.
But not everyone's totally clear on whether they should get to keep their loans. An attorney who's working with some PPP loan recipients told Fox Business some of his clients are having panic attacks over whether they qualify. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
And I'm Jack Callahan. This is Fox News.
Since 1946, Murphy's Builder Supply has been serving the folks of Jessup, Wayne, and surrounding counties with quality products and knowledgeable service. Matter of fact, they feel they sell service first to make sure you get exactly what you need for your home improvement projects. And with each employee at Murphy's being there for 10 years or more, you know you're talking with someone with the experience to help you with building supplies, tools, paint, and all the things you need from a full-service hardware store. The best choice in home improvement is Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jessup.
8:01 here at the Big Dog WIFO world-famous Butch and Bob Show on this Thursday morning, brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Jonathan. Today we're talking voting as the early voting period gets underway on Monday, May 18th. The primary set for Tuesday, June the 9th. Again, there's going to be one Saturday day of voting on May 30th from 8 to 4 at the courthouse. We got probate judge Tammy Thornton in, Chief Registrar Susan Nash. They've been dealing with the election, but I'll start with you, Tammy. Again, everybody's qualified. The early voting period is set. The ballots are set. So tell us how it's going to take place with the social distancing and things like that. First of all, let me ask you, I hear stories on Georgia Network News and nationwide about they're worried about poll workers because of the elderly people. A lot of them are calling up saying they don't want to be part of it, but you said you don't have any problem with that. All your poll workers are signed up, ready to go.
All my poll workers are signed up, ready to go. I reached out to all the managers and had them to contact their team members, and everyone said they were on board, not a problem. Of course, we'll be practicing the social distancing as well as, early voting and the day of the election. And yes, the Secretary of State's office has conference calls with us weekly, and the big push is to make sure that everyone is available to work. Jay Brinson reached out to me and told me that he might even can provide some teachers if I needed someone to fill in, which is great. But so far, everyone is willing to come and work and seems to be excited about it. Now, yesterday I met with the county attorney, Richard Johnson, EMA, and Stacy Drew from the health department, as well as Susan attended the meeting. We went over to the courthouse and went over all the policies and procedures that's set forth by the state, the CDC guidance. We will go back over today and tomorrow. We'll put out the crowd control. We'll mark the floor 6 feet apart. We're going to have the benches where you can't sit on those, chairs that will be 6 feet apart if you need to sit down. There'll be one way in, one way out. The front entrance of the courthouse will be locked. The handicapped entrance is on the back, so if you need to use that, you'll need to park in the back or go in the back entrance. Otherwise, everyone else will come in on the side of the courthouse that's the Walnut Street side, which is the sheriff's office side. You'll come through that door. We'll have plenty of poll workers there that are going to assist and help to show everyone where to go. The floor will be marked where you stand, just like when you enter Walmart or anywhere where they're trying to adhere to this policy as well. So we're trying to do everything we can to. The poll workers will be wearing a mask. That is recommended. Everything will be wiped down in between. As Susan stated yesterday, she'll have a basket of pens that have not been used and those that have. Stacy Drew told us yesterday that, how to clean everything and make sure that we're taking care of that part as voters are coming in and out. You'll walk up to the poll pad once you go into Susan's office. It'll be set up a little bit different. That table will be outside, and that's where they create your card to vote. We'll have 5 machines set up in the courtroom, which is all that will be in there, as well as the scanner where you scan your ballot in. You'll exit the door there at the back of the courtroom and go out the back entrance, which is the handicap.
And on Tuesday, June 9th, how many polling, for those not familiar with Wayne County, how many precincts will be open that day?
On the day of election, we'll have all 7 precincts open.
7 precincts, okay.
And the same procedures will take place there as well. We will be there to put up the crowd control, keep everyone in line, in and out of the building. All the poll workers will be available to help assist because we don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed or confused when they come in there. We want them to understand where to go and what's expected. And like I said, the poll workers will have masks on. We encourage everyone to wear a mask to come in and vote. Of course, we don't have enough to provide to the public, so bring your own mask. But we are encouraging that. And one other thing, we always allow children to come in with parents because it's exciting to them to see how to vote. But right now, during this pandemic, we do ask that if you have someone available to keep the children, that would be better, or someone to wait in the vehicle, because you just don't, it's all about the crowd now, 10 or less, and also not having anyone else exposed. We are, for early voting, going to try to have the poll workers that go in to help with early voting. We're going to try to separate the precincts so that if someone is exposed or something happens or they become ill, then you still have people to work the day of election.
Okay, also with us is Chief Registrar Susan Nash. And Susan, again, this early voting gets underway Monday. It all takes place at the downtown Wayne County Courthouse. So tell us what preparations, what will people see, how do they enter the courthouse, where they come, what all is going to take place beginning on Monday.
Well, as Tammy mentioned, they'll be coming in the one-way, the Walnut Street entrance. And handicapped, of course, will be able to come in the handicapped entrance, and they'll be leaving the handicapped entrance. Everybody will have a poll worker there showing them which way to go. They will come into the office like they did last time. That was a new thing. They came in the office and they did not vote there. Then they'll be processed in there. They will. We're encouraging them to bring their own pen if they want to, because they do have to sign the form. We will be checking IDs, and that's mandatory in the state. We will not be touching their IDs. We're going to ask them to hold them, so it'll be a little different. Ask them to hold them up so we can verify who they are, and then we'll turn them around to be able to scan them to make sure that we are getting them in the election system and that we have the right person, obviously. Then they'll go to the poll pad. This time, because of the type of election it is, you're going to have a choice of a combined ballot, which is the presidential preference election on it, as well as the May election, quote, June election now, but it is considered the May general primary. So they'll either get the combined ballot if they have not already voted in the presidential preference, or they'll get the other if they vote in the presidential preference, they'll just have the May general election, nonpartisan election ballot. So we'll be indicating that once we see them so that we verify the right ballot. Then they'll go into go to the poll pad. They'll be given their voter card, and they'll go in and they'll vote as they did. Even though it's a new equipment, it's very similar to the old equipment, and should be no problems whatsoever. It should be easy. like last time. We had no complaints about the new machines. Everybody seemed to like them. They're bigger, they're easier to see. But people just need to remember, if they voted in the presidential election, they won't have that election on their ballot. That's one of the big things.
Bob, we got a question in by text for the precincts. How have they been consolidated down? Somebody wants to know where Oglethorpe votes. So if we can go through, this is of course, the early election. That's just at the courthouse. But when we get to actual election day, they want to know the precincts and how they've been consolidated down and who votes where. Like, I know that Mount Pleasant has been moved to Guard-I and other ones have been consolidated. So can we run down that?
That was actually done several years ago, Jonathan. The Mount Pleasant was combined with Guard-I, and Scriven Rich was moved to the Scriven precinct. And we moved the VFW and Ottoman Hall to Bennett Union. Those voters stayed together, just a new location to vote. Then the Pine Street was moved to the Rec Center, the Jessup Rec Center, and then Unity stayed the same with Unity and Empire.
Okay, so Oglethorpe community, where
that's the county building out on 169.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
If you just joined us, we got Probate Judge Tammy Thornton and Chief Registrar Susan Nash. Susan, again, the early voting gets underway Monday. Again, not sure what kind of crowd's going to show up. So how are you going to handle crowd control? How many people are you going to have that? Somebody outside the courthouse determine how many people can get in to vote at one time, or how's that going to work?
Well, we're going to have the chairs. We're going to have chairs set up 6 feet apart, and we've kind of figured yesterday with Richard Johnson and Stacy from the health department that we could probably get 5 waiting in the lobby. There's only going to be one person allowed into the registrar's office at a time. Okay. Because of the configuration of the office. There's really not enough 6 feet distance to let somebody come in and pass by. So to follow safety procedures, plan on having a little bit more time to come vote this time. So that will work there. And if we have to have somebody outside, we will. So we hope that, we'll have everything marked and things like that. And people are so good, and I think that they're now used to adhering to all these things everywhere they go. So I don't anticipate any problems. It'll just be a little slower because we're trying to maintain the distance, and you're trying not to touch things. You're trying to make sure you're using your hand sanitizer. So we want to accomplish all that and meet all the guidelines.
It seems like there's a lot of interest in the election, so I think a good turnout will be taking place. Again, it starts Monday, runs 3 weeks. It's Monday through Friday at the courthouse. The hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and they remain open during the lunch hour for everybody's convenience, right? So that there's no 8 to 5. It's open.
Yes,
8 to 5.
It's open. We're not. A lot of people try to come on their lunch, so we try to accommodate that. We have right now about 3,800 applications for absentee ballots. To put that in perspective, in the governor's race in November 2018, our office did 700 absentee ballots, and that was overwhelming for us to do 700. Now we have 3,800 applications. Doesn't mean everybody's going to send their ballot back, but 3,800 is an awful lot. And, that's getting them in, verifying the signatures, making sure they're who they say they are and that they're eligible to vote, sending the ballots out. We are not sending the ballots out. It's a third-party vendor by the Secretary of State's office. 7 o'clock every night is when they pull and they send the ballots. So we get the information in from the applications. We put it into the election system, and they pick it up from there. Speaking of those applications for absentee ballots, a lot of people, they don't pick their party, they don't sign the application, can't verify a signature without a signature. So if there's a phone number on there, we can call them and get them to come in. If not, we have to send it back out in the mail to them. So if they haven't got their absentee ballot, they can call and check with us. Same thing with the actual ballots themselves. Unfortunately, the vendor has put a sleeve in there, what's called a sleeve, instead of the white official absentee envelope to put the ballot in. But the directions still say put it in your white envelope. There is no white envelope. There's a white sleeve. So we're getting multiple calls daily about it. The sleeve is just a piece of paper. You put your ballot inside. Then it goes inside your sealed oath envelope. So nothing can be seen or anything like that, but that's a big question. Also, people calling about not signing their oath envelope. Ballot is not legal until that oath envelope is signed and the signature then is again verified. So we're getting a lot of those. One other problem is the The husband gets his ballot, the wife doesn't get hers. They sent their application at the same time. We have thousands of applications, and if you didn't put it in the same envelope, we didn't get it at the same time. But we're processing them as fast as we can.
And where do they drop that off? The absentee ballot? Is there a
The
drop-off
office
box
is
or
open.
the office?
We don't have a drop box.
Okay.
The office is open. We do have the door locked, but we open the door for people, but they can slip it right under the door. And if they don't feel confident with that sleeve, I have some official absentee envelopes that we use when we send them out, and they're right there outside the office if they want them. There's no issue whatsoever. You know, those envelopes, the ballots, as you know, they come in, and on Election Day, they'll go to Judge Thornton's office. They'll be opened in front of the review panel with the representative of the Democrats and the Republicans. So nothing is opened ahead of time. So those sleeves, it's not a big deal because it's going in your sealed oath envelope. Just put it in the sleeve. Don't worry about it, and we'll take care of it.
And how lengthy is the ballot, Tammy? I mean, there's a lot of races on the ballot, right? How long do you think it would take somebody to go in, to do to fill out the ballot? At least
Probably will take about 5 to 10
5
minutes.
to 10 minutes
Yeah,
for each
because you've
person,
got
right.
some questions from the parties as well that's on there.
Are
But
there
it
any
is a long
are
ballot.
there any referendums on the ballot this time, or is it just candidates?
Just
candidates. So,
yeah,
but you got-
candidates and
But
questions.
it's presidential primaries, or is it local races, the statewide races, all those are on the ballot.
That's
All right.
correct.
Okay.
That is correct. And if they need a copy of the sample ballot, they can stop by my office, Susan's
I have
office.
some, yeah.
We can direct them online how to pull their ballot.
And we're still a few days away from Monday, so if anybody has any questions, they can call both your offices, right?
Certainly.
The registrar's office is 427-5950, and your office, Tammy, is 427-5940.
That
So
is
if
correct.
anybody needs any information between now and Monday or during the 3-week period, they can call the offices and get that information. So
Yes, please give us a call.
but a lot of
We're glad to
excitement, locally we've got the sheriff's race. That should create a lot of interest. And like I said, the presidential primary is on the ballot, so that's creating a lot of interest. Plus you got the Senate race, which is creating a lot of so there's a lot of races that have a lot of people's interest. So I think the turnout's going to be pretty good.
I think so. We're getting a lot of positive feedback about it.
We harp about it all the time. Is that it's your constitution? You have there's a lot of countries that don't even allow you to vote.
That's
so
right.
it's frustrating for me. When you watch the low turnouts in all these races. So hopefully we'll have a big turnout and people take the time and go vote in these important races.
We certainly hope so. There's a lot that goes into it to prepare it, and we're trying to make everyone as comfortable as possible coming in to vote and make sure that they feel like that we're taking their health into consideration as well.
Will there be a Saturday as well on this cycle?
Yes, that will take
May
30th.
Okay.
I had this trivia question for Jonathan yesterday. I didn't realize this. There's 5 states that conduct all elections by mail. I don't know what 5 states those are?
I have no idea, Bob. I can only think about Georgia right now.
But Colorado, Hawaii, Oregon, Utah, and Washington, they all vote strictly by mail. Wow. So that's I didn't know that, but it seems unusual. And I enjoy going to vote in person, so I always vote the day of the primary.
I've been getting a lot of calls about the absentee ballots, a lot of questions about that. And most everyone says, I just want to go vote. And if I explain to them that was a decision by the new Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, to send out an application to every active voter in Georgia. But that doesn't mean if you're inactive, you can't request one. But that was a decision they made because of the COVID-19, making everyone feel safe health-wise.
Last time we had you in the studio is what we're talking about the new machines, and you had people, you had the machines at different organizations, had people, if they wanted to see the new machines, they come down. How did that process go? Did a lot of people take advantage of that?
Yes, they did. We had a lot of people that took advantage of that, and I think everyone felt real comfortable. As Susan stated, early voting went off without a hitch. Everyone seemed to be excited about it. No problems whatsoever. We were very pleased with it, the way that went off. I mean, we really were. It was a great turnout and a great response from everyone. When Edwin and I would go over to do some things, we would always ask the voters how they felt about it, and everyone was very positive.
Well, the $64,000 question me and Jonathan always ask is how soon, once the polls close on Tuesday, June 9th, when we get the results?
That is a burning question, Bob.
That's always our concern.
That's right.
Sometimes it goes smoothly, sometimes it doesn't.
That's right.
It's just...
Well, with the new equipment, as you know, Bob, the optical scan we had before that fed the paper ballots through, that was quite a challenge for that equipment. Now it's just unbelievable at how quickly they go through. And to be honest, most of this election now with the new equipment, all the work is on the front end and the length of time. When they bring the cards in out of the scanner where the votes are cast in the bin, that's all we have to do, and then run those paper ballots through, which I will advertise early, and then we sequester the committee that is there so that we are ready to feed those through at 7 o'clock. You know, when the polls close, then we're ready to go ahead and take care of that. And really, I think, and I hope, that the results will be so much quicker than even before. I really do. I think it's going to be great, and I'm hoping that everyone will see that.
Wasn't there supposed to be a hand count as well to make sure that the numbers come together? Has that changed?
That has changed. They first said that, Jonathan, but now the Secretary of State's office has changed that and said they will not require the poll managers to count them at the precinct. They're scanned in what we call the trash bin, which is not really, it's just it looks like a trash bin that is scanned into. So that's counted them, but they did decide that they would not have the poll workers to do that, and I'm glad about that. That's kind of a difficult job, counting a pile of ballots.
And there's rules about candidates, how close they can be to the polling precincts. You know, in the years, we haven't had many instances, but I know sometimes you've been called and saying, so
yes.
just verify that on election day. How close can the candidates be to the polling places and things like that? What are the rules and regulations about that?
It's 150 feet from the entry of the polling place. And again, you can't come in with any election attire on. If you have a T-shirt on there for a candidate, we ask you take it and turn it inside out. You can't wear a button or a pin. You can't linger in the building, but it is 150 feet from the entry of the door. If anyone feels like that someone is too close or doing, things that they shouldn't be doing, they can contact my office, and if I'm available, I'll run around there. If not, then I'll ask a deputy to go around and see if we can't diffuse the situation.
And one thing Wayne County should know, we've been blessed as far as poll workers. Some of these poll workers have been there for many years. And they do a good job.
They do
really
a great job. And you're right, Bob. They jump right in there. They catch right on. Even after not having an election for a couple of years, they just go right back into it. And I've been there since the end of '82, and we still have poll workers that were there then.
Right.
They're great. We've recruited a lot of new ones, of course. And but all of my poll workers do a great job. They are certainly an extension of us. And the integrity of the election is based on how we conduct everything. They've attended a lot of training prior to the last election. We still have a couple of more trainings before we roll out on June the 9th. But they all show up. They do a good job, every one of them. They're great.
And about the poll workers, I have to give them a big attaboy. The guidelines and everything have changed with early voting with the new equipment. You need twice as many employees, and the registrar's office is basically a one-person office with a little bit of help. And Tammy's poll workers, they signed up for the 3 weeks of early voting for the March 24th presidential preference. They came and they worked 7 to 12:30. They worked 12:30 to 5:30 or 6 o'clock. And they signed up for that 3 weeks because I don't have those bodies. And the best people to be in there are the ones that work election day. And they are great. They were willing to learn everything possible and do anything that was asked of them. And they continue now. That's why we hear a lot of things in the state about some places, counties not having poll workers. I don't think one poll worker has said to me they can't work. They want to know when can they come. They are great, and we couldn't do it without them. They really have stepped it up.
Well, let's clarify one thing, Tammy. Like I said, it says here, all your poll workers are going to be wearing masks, and voters are encouraged to do so. But if a voter doesn't have, they're still going to be able to vote if they don't have a mask, right?
Yes,
so let's want to clarify that. I don't want that rumor getting out there.
You're not required to wear a mask to vote.
The poll workers will be wearing masks, and they're asking you to do so. But even if you don't have a mask, you're still able to vote.
That's right. That's right. We're just, as poll workers and election officials, we're just trying to adhere to the policies and procedures the state has in place.
I just want to clarify that. I don't want anybody out there saying, "Oh, they told me I can't vote if I don't have money."
No, Robin, I'm glad you
Right.
clarified that, because everyone has the right to vote, and if you come and you don't have a mask on, that's fine. That's fine. You will be voting.
How many registered voters do we have in Wayne County? What's the total number?
18,000.
18,000.
Right about. We've gone up considerably in the last couple of years. Used to be we only had 15, 16,000 active. We have over 17,000 active, and maybe about 1,000 something inactive. So we have a lot of voters. So we anticipate a good turnout. You know, with there being almost 4,000 applications for absentee ballots, and then November 18, which was our biggest election, we had 10,000 people vote in that election, which was wonderful. I anticipate a lot. A lot of people say, "Oh, it'll be slow." I don't think so. We're getting a lot of phone calls about people. I have my absentee ballot, but I want to come vote in person. We do ask them to bring their ballot in. We're going to cancel it anyway, but we ask them to bring their ballot in.
That was a question that we just got. What do we do with the mail-in ballots if we want to go in and vote? And that's what you just said, that you bring it in, you void it.
Yes, we void it. People, they can't vote twice. It doesn't work that way. The system doesn't allow it. Also, recently, yesterday, we've been getting a lot of phone calls, and I think Judge Thornton's been getting a lot of calls. People are getting things in the mail from other agencies, whatever, and saying they're not voting, they're not on the voters list, they're not this, they need to fill it in and send it in. Reality is, if you've sent in your application and you've gotten your absentee ballot, you've done what you need to do for this election. If you've gotten something in the mail that says your name or current resident, it's probably from an agency. It's not from me. It has my address on it, but it is not from me. You have done your due diligence and you've already voted. You don't be concerned with those things.
If there's anybody out there that has any doubt if they're a registered voter, they can call the registrar's office to verify that before they come down there.
They can call. Of course, the deadline for the voting was May 11th for this election, but they can get it straight and be able to vote in November. So.
Yeah, the deadline to vote in this primary was Monday.
Yes, it was. It was Monday.
So, again, did you see a lot of people register in the last couple of days before the vote?
Yes, we had quite a few register. Most people are already registered. I mean, there's a lot that are registered, and not too many questions. A couple calls since then about not being able to vote now. But with the general election coming in November, they're going to be able to vote for the same things that really are on the ballot right now. They're just not going to be able to limit it down to the candidates. So we'll get them straight now, and that's what we told them. We can put it in after the election, but we can take their information and get them straight now so that they're good to go for the next one.
I think the turnout is going to be pretty good here in Wayne County. Like I said, the sheriff's race has a lot of people's interest. The presidential primaries on there has a lot of people's interest. So I think the turnout is going to be pretty good. So looking forward to it. Hope everybody does do what they're asked to do. Again, if you're a registered voter, you need to vote. That's the only way your voice is heard.
That's right.
That's the only way you have to vote. If you're upset with something or you want to support somebody, that's the only way you can do it is to go vote. So hopefully people will take the time. Again, it all gets underway Monday, May 18th, runs through Friday, June the 5th. Again, that's Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 at the downtown courthouse. The registrar's office is right inside the courthouse, right? When you walk in, it's right there to the right. It's right there on the right. So I think most people are familiar with that, but some people move in and they're not familiar with it. But if you have any questions, again, call these numbers. The registrar's office number is 427-5950, and Tammy's office is 427-5940. So if anybody has any questions, needs to get clarification about if you're a registered voter or not, just give a call and you ladies can help them out. So
that's right. Any questions or concern, give us a call.
But we appreciate you coming in. Like I said, we'll look forward to it. Hopefully follow it. Like Susan does a good job of keeping me up to date daily on the numbers because people like to know how many people vote each day. So it'll be fun to see what the turnout is. I think it's going to be pretty good here in Wayne County.
I think so
too.
I hear a lot of excitement, a lot of people excited about the voting. I said, unfortunately, they had to push the primary back. Well, it was originally scheduled for this month, wasn't it? Or
March 24th was the presidential. May 19th
was
the one for us. So we still call it the May election.
I got you. It just got pushed back to June, right? But the early voting gets underway Monday, so we'll see how the crowd goes. But again, everything's going to be for safety too. Tammy, explain again what they're going to be marked off. Not many people will be allowed. One person at a time to go in and vote. So they're going to do everything they can to make it a safe process. So.
Well, one person will be allowed in my office to get processed to go vote. There'll be 5 people at a time allowed inside the actual magistrate courtroom. That, because you have to keep the numbers down, you have your employees, your poll workers as well, so there won't be more than 10 in there at any time. And we will be sanitizing and going over the BMDs, the machines, as a voter leaves. We'll be making sure that everything is cleaned and
we'll have plenty of employees there working so we can keep the line moving fairly quickly. Yeah. And, of course, people monitoring the line and that sort of thing.
But if it is a crowd, just patience.
That's right. Please, patience, because we're just trying to keep everyone healthy and voting. And so, any questions during that time or any concerns, please let us know as well.
Okay. Well, again, the numbers again, if you need a question about early voting or things like that, call the registrar's office, 427-5950. If you have any other questions with Tammy, the probate judge, call her at 427-5940. So, again, it'll be exciting. Gets underway Monday at 8 a.m., 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Again, reminder, they're open through lunch. It's a 3-week early voting period with the primary set for Tuesday, June the 9th. So we'll look forward to it. Should be fun. And we'll be there Tuesday, June 9th, giving the returns.
Quickly.
Got my finger. It doesn't bother. This is the man. He's like, what? What's going on?
Yes, we have experienced that on several occasions through the years.
See, I don't want the wrath of Jonathan. See, you don't get the wrath of Jonathan. See, when I call, we don't have any returns yet.
I just have the wrath of you, Bob. So I'm glad I don't have Jonathan as well.
I just appreciate you. Let's just sit in there and get the returns, like I say, because a lot of people are tuned in and want to know who's winning. So
that's right.
But again, appreciate you ladies coming in. Like I say, we'll look forward to the early voting period. It should be fun. We'll be back with some final comments of the Butch and Bob Show after this. Sheffield's Trophies and Sports Shop is now under new ownership as Becky and Pat have decided to enjoy retirement. So it's now Sheffield's by Scott Horrell and Fatback Tees and Sean Mullis, the new owners. Need custom screen printing, signs, or banners? Need sports equipment or apparel? Sheffield's new owner Scott Horrell and Sean Mullis now offer custom screen printing, signs, and banners in addition to the services already provided. For all your sports needs, trophies, engraving, embroidery, custom screen printing, banners, and more, call Sheffield's at 912-427-2982 or 912-530-8384. Or visit Sheffield's by Fatback Tees and Mullis at 1516 West Orange Street, Monday through Saturday. If you can think it, they can get it. Again, Sheffield's now Sheffield's by Scott Horrell and Fatback Tees and Sean Mullis. For all your sporting good needs, stop by and see them today.